Now, I've got an interesting scenario for all of you today. Imagine you were just living your everyday life until suddenly you were just teleported into the Undertale world as a monster and given one objective: stop the human from completing a genocide run. For this scenario, you'll appear in the ruins the second the human falls into the underground. As for which monster you are, you can pick any non-boss ruins monster, like a Luke's or something. I like Lux's. Now, it may seem daunting knowing that you have to stop such a powerful opponent, but you're given one key advantage. You get to keep all of the Undertale knowledge that you had while you were in the real world. Now, with that aspect in mind, could you stop the human from completing a genocide run? Well, let's find out right now. So, like I said earlier, you start off as a monster in the ruin. Knowing that you have very limited time before the human's wrath descends upon you and your people, you have to act fast. Now, the first solution that many might have is to confront the human and fight them. This would obviously end poorly. Sure, if you have the knowledge on how Undertale works, you could probably just dodge like Sans does, but as a common monster, you won't have the magic to deal any significant damage to the human. The best thing you could probably do is just stall them for a few minutes. Now, what you could do that might yield better results is gathering a group of monsters together and performing the greatest strategy of all: jumping someone. I don't know how many monsters you can convince to help you, but even 4 or 5 would cause some serious trouble to a low-leveled human. Now you might be thinking, alright, just get a group together and defeat the human with ease. Genocide run over. Well, if you know anything about the human, you know it's not that easy. Every time you take down the human, they'll just come back, and because of this, they'll eventually memorize you and your allies' attack patterns and take everyone down. Now you could be asking, how are you supposed to know when the human resets or revives? Well, although there's no way you can sense it, quite a decent number of monsters can identify when the human resets by the look on their face. Now, you could try and randomize your attacks, but because time reset, you have no idea what patterns you used previously, meaning that eventually the human will adapt and win. After analyzing this scenario in my head, I actually don't think there's a way to stop the human that doesn't involve at least a few monsters being killed. Which sucks, but if it means saving an entire race of people, then so be it. With direct confrontation out of the picture, the next best option is to destroy the door out of the ruins. A united effort from a large group of monsters might be enough to block off the path, but it would be a lot more effective if Toriel were the one to do it, as she is by far the most powerful monster in the ruins. A solid plan is to gather together a group of monsters and tell Toriel of the human's path of violence. Next, gather all the monsters in the ruins together and have them evacuate to Snowdin. In order to stall the human, have a few monsters stay behind and fight them off in order to buy Toriel enough time to destroy the exit, leaving the human trapped in the ruins forever. Now, although this does seem like a solid plan, the biggest hindrance to it would surprisingly be Toriel herself. She has a large soft spot for human children and is very protective of them, meaning that trying to convince her of one's violent actions might be tricky. Without Toriel, the plan could still maybe work if enough monsters channel their magic into turning the exit into rubble, but that's a hard maybe. Due to Toriel's protectiveness towards humans, there might not be enough time to bring down the ruins exit. Now, if nothing can be done to stop the human in the ruins, you'll have to move on to Snowdin. While you could try and rally the Royal Guard's canine unit together to fight the human, it'll still end with them eventually learning the attacks and killing everyone. What you'll have to do is warn as many monsters as possible that a human is killing people and that everyone needs to evacuate to Snowdin Town. I forgot to mention this earlier, but it's important to minimize the amount of monsters the human gets to kill, as by doing so, not only do you get to save lives, which is always a good thing, but you also make the human weaker, as without monsters to kill, they can't level up as much, making them much easier to take down. Anyways, after getting as many monsters as possible to Snowdin Town, all you have to do is just cut the bridge that leads there. After doing so, you can ask Papyrus to activate his Gauntlet of Deadly Terror, which includes flamethrowers, cannons, and a lot more to put pressure on the human. Now, although this stops the human in their tracks from progressing, they aren't fully taken out, as nothing can still kill them. Which means the human can still come back over and over and over, and look for a new solution to reach the denizens of Snowdin. Now, what you need to do is find a more permanent solution to the problem. You probably know where I'm going with this. Now, with the humans stuck trying to reach Snowdin Town, the next thing you have to do is gather a large group of monsters to travel with you and journey all the way to New Home and speak with Asgore directly. Now, this group should consist of decently strong fighters like Royal Guard members and other resilient monsters, as a group that's too large slows down the journey significantly. Why I recommend members of the Royal Guard is because 1, having them with you allows you to better convince Undyne of the threat the human faces, allowing her to either go with you to talk to Asgore or travel to Snowdin and aid in the defense, and 2, it keeps you and your overall group protected just in case Flowey shows up. Now, Flowey is actually a decent threat and has killed the monster population quite a large number of times, so in order to ensure safety from him, you'll need to bring decent combatants with you. You can also grab Alphys and Mettaton to aid you pretty easily due to Alphys' knowledge of the human's actions via cameras and Mettaton's desire for fame and attention, prompting him to go to Snowdin to aid the people. Anyways, after taking your posse all the way to Asgore's palace, all you need to do is convince him to use the human souls to erase the human's save, much like how Photoshop Flyer was able to do so. The biggest conflict with the plan, much like Toriel's, is whether or not Asgore will go through with it. I feel like telling him of the human's actions while a large group of other monsters, which include people he trusts, should convince him to go through with it, allowing the underground to be free of the human scourge. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you stop the human from completing the Genocide Run. After finishing off the human, hopefully Asgore doesn't use the power of the human souls to exit the barrier and cause a massive havoc on the human race, but who knows. What matters is that you're a hero and you saved as many people as you possibly could, allowing monster kind to continue living. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and if you think you have a better way of dealing with the Genocide Run human, let me know in the comments below. And like I said before, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.